Okay. The back of my notebook fell off. All right. Hello, everyone. So I had a great Saturday. Saturdays are always great days because I get to teach. I'm freezing. I should go get um, so I had a really great day today, and there has been a lot that's happened, like in the past 2 days. So, um, yeah. So, oh gosh, I had to put lotion all over my arms. This is gonna be sticky. Ugh. I'm really not a lotion person. I don't like it at all. Although I was thinking about that the other day. I should probably do a lotion, at least on my hands. My hands are starting to get dry. I don't want to have old lady hands. But anyway, so okay, where do I even start? So I had so like a couple days ago, and this is what's so funny. I really feel like I get to be, because as a little girl, I always wanted to be a missionary. And really the only thing about missionaries, that really sticks out is just that you trust God for everything. You trust God for your food, you trust him for all your money, you trust him for absolutely everything. And that's really been true for me. And like sometimes it's hard because it's like you want to. This is not to say that you shouldn't plan, because you should plan. And like I'm so against people who are like, well, if you just sit back and you don't do anything and you just hope that everything works out and like you just pray and like no, you do what you're supposed to do. Work hard. Like I think the main thing is, are you willing to work hard? And if you're willing to work hard and you do what's right, then it's not a guarantee that things will be like I thought about this thing yesterday. You might not always be happy, but you can always be happy with yourself. And I think that's so true. Like I'm not happy all the time. Like last night I cried myself to sleep, but like I'm happy with myself. You know what I mean? So I think that is a really important thing for people to know. You're not always going to be happy, nor should you be. Like I think it's exhausting to try to be like super happy all the time. Like, but you can be happy with yourself because you've done good work. So anyway, like a couple, well, I don't even know what day it was now, like maybe 2 days ago, yesterday, it was Wednesday. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit from that. So a few days ago, I had because I really, administration work is not my favorite thing. Like I was telling my mom, I don't like it when, I don't like being messaged. I don't like that because I already have a lot going here in my head. So when people are like, I need this thing to get done, it's like, I'm sorry. I'm talking to my characters in my head and I've got all this other stuff going on. So it feels just like all these interruptions, like, Ashley, you need to get this done. You need to get this done. Yeah, but you need to write about us too. And you need to get this done. So I always have too much going on in my head. I mean, like even in my dreams, like things are always happening. So I never get a break, it feels like. So when I finally get in a good headspace to like create a project or actually my administration skills this year, which might sound kind of dumb, but like it really is important because like that is, if you can get things done in a timely manner, if you can get yourself to do things that you don't want to do, if you are able to like do menial tasks and do them really well. Like in the Bible, it says, if you can be entrusted with little things, you'll be entrusted with more. And so like learning how to, I want to do a whole talk on like all the things that I learned from doing administration. So maybe I should just do that right now. I'll do that right now. But no, I won't, because I'm going to write this down. So see, that's what I mean. I get too many ideas, but hang on. This is another thing about administration. Always write everything down because you will forget. Like you think you're going to remember and then you forget. So all this pen's running out. I don't have my good pens with me, but okay. So anyway, I had been thinking about that and I was like, I've been really struggling about what do I do like with the rest of my life, or at least like this next chunk, because I always think of life as like 4-year chunks, like, kind of like college chunks or like high school chunks. And so, and you should always be learning something new every year. You should have little goals for like the next 4 or 5 years. Like that might sound dumb, but if you don't plan for this is the thing about planning. You need to plan on how you're going to internally grow. and then like you gather skills and things like that, and then you trust God to put the things in your life that you're supposed to do. Because I think a lot of people think like, well, what's God's perfect will for your life? Well, there is no really such thing. Like, I mean, what were you made to do well at? That doesn't mean you're going to be like, well, I'm going to be, I'm a really good dance teacher, but I can't teach full time. Like, I have back pain. Does that mean that I like stop teaching altogether? No. I mean, like, I'm going to always teach dance because I have to. Like, I came home from classes today and my mom was like, oh, wow, you're really happy. And like, I literally taught for probably 7 hours and I'm like, woo, and that's because I get to be around kids and they are so like, I tolerate adults and then I wait to be with my kids because they're the best. Like, they are my best friends. They're so honest. They're like, there's no games with them. They say what's on their mind. I love it. And then we have fun and it's just the best. Like, they're my best friends. And I think that any relationship that you have with another person, like if it's more childlike, the better it is. Like, I hate adult relationships that are all based on like lies and like jockeying for power and like forget all that. I hate it so much. So but anyway, so I just came back very refreshed from teaching dance and I love it, but and I've tried to make it full time, but I really can't because like my back and all these different issues. And so I was like, well, I'm really ready. I said, okay, God, I'm ready. Like, if you have like some administration job for me to do and I need to just help somebody, I'm willing to do that. And literally like 2 days later, I basically kind of just got whooshed into this position where I'm helping someone, basically being their producer. And so I'm like, wow, okay. So like my inbox suddenly has like 30 emails in it, and it's like I could hear emails pinging through all night, and I was like, oh Lord, help me. You know what I mean? But I'm ready for this challenge, and I feel like it'll be good. And I've been needing something where I can work mostly from home, and right now this will be remote and working from home. And then I'll be able to do some dance stuff on the side, and hopefully I'll have some time to do my other projects. I am 3.5 chapters away from my children's book, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so I was like, okay, like I guess and so this is titled, this thing is humming along. So I'm getting red because I'm really hivey. I don't know what my deal is, but I ate like an apple, and so I like hived all over my arms. Food stuff is great, right? But there's this song called Humming Along by Waterdeep. Oh, whoops, Humming Along. I'm going to see if I can play it for you guys. Hopefully it'll come through. But I love this song. And basically how I feel with life is that, you're driving along in your little car, and then, all of a sudden, because if you let God be in the driver's seat, you're like, okay, I guess we're just like going to this destination. And then you think you know where you're going, like, oh, well, we must be going this way. And then all of a sudden it's like you take a turn and you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to go there. Okay, I guess we're going this way. And if you fight against it and you're like, oh, I love you, Mama. Mom, I took Turbo Force. I think that's why I'm so zingy. I love you. So you're driving along and everything, and then all of a sudden you take a turn, and if you fight against it, it's like you just waste a lot of time and energy, because you're gonna go this other direction anyway. And if you try to make it go the other way, then you're like fighting up against the stream. You're fighting an uphill battle, and it just isn't worth it. It ain't worth it. So this song, I love this song because I always picture like someone driving in a car, and you'll just, okay, let's listen to it really quick. I would love to do a music video to song someday. I would like to maybe contact people that I do music videos for, and like show them my work. I feel like a lot of times I get really good visions for music videos because I'll tell them to people, like, oh, that's really good. So I love it. This thing is humming along. So you can just picture it going down like a road. This thing is humming along. This thing is humming along. This thing is humming along. We're gonna get there, I know we're gonna get there soon. We're gonna get there, I know we're gonna get there soon. So anyway, my sister and we used to play that a lot, and I just love that song. I thought it was a great little tune, and that's kind of how I've been feeling the past couple days. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about all this. It's just like a lot. And so I don't know exactly what I really want to do right now. I suppose I could go through some notes. Oh, one thing I did want to show you guys is, I guess that we could probably talk a little bit about organization while we're at it. So a few of the things that I would say when you start any kind of job, like I should do a whole job series because I feel like I had very limited college education. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is possibly be like a professor down the road, or at least do lectures and things like that. I love teaching and I want people to understand. And my sister was saying, you always say, what people don't understand is, and then I will proceed to tell them what people don't understand. And so my mom was like, that's so true. So I do really like, I want people to understand, like I used to very much like look down on people, I feel like, and now I'm just like I'm on the same level as everyone. I just want people to understand, because that is where the power of life comes from. It's from understanding things, whether it's understanding yourself, understanding how to have relationships, understanding how to do your job well, understanding what, how your brain chemistry works, understanding how to work out. Like there's all these things, right there, and you just need to understand. And if you don't understand, people have power over you, because then they're like, you're powerless if you don't know something or understand something, and then you rely on someone else who does understand, and then those people can control you, and you don't want that. You want to be able to be as autonomous as possible. That doesn't mean that you don't rely on your community. Like I'm very community oriented. I love people and I love being able to learn from people and sharing things with people, but you don't want to be controlled by people. Oh, you did? Yeah, I am. I'm really focused right now. My mom gave me some extra C60, which, by the way, if you C60 is it's carbon 60. Mom, I should have you come on here and talk about that. But anyway, it's a great it's for repairing your telomeres, and it helps you it just kind of helps repair everything. So, and I sometimes get a lot of brain fog. So, but I also think that Turbo Force helped, Mama. I got some Turbo. I took a little bit of Turbo Force this morning or this afternoon. So anyway, for organizational thing, one of the first things that I really learned how to do was I had a job at a Pier 1, which is like a furniture store and decoration store. And when people would call and ask, what is that? What is that doing? Oh, okay. I don't have any storage space to save stuff. Oh well, it's going to have to be what it's going to be. But these people would call, and then you'd have to make good notes about what they needed and their orders and things. And the first few times, because I didn't used to like calling people on the phone. I can't say it's my favorite thing now, but I'm better at it. You can always get better at something. I really didn't like talking to strangers on the phone. I mean, I was one of those kids who I did not want to go up and pay for my own stuff because I was afraid to talk to the cashier. I was I just had a lot of social anxiety, and you can work through it. I think the main thing with social anxiety is stop trying to mask it and address it face up, because it's always if you have an issue with something, whatever it is, and you don't acknowledge it and you try to brush it aside, the monster gets bigger in the closet versus just taking the monster out and looking at it. It's kind of like when you're a kid and all the lights are off and there's stuff all over the floor, and you look at the stuff and all of a sudden it starts looking like creatures and things. If you just get out of bed and turn the light on, it's over, right? It's done. But if the longer you lay there and you're like, oh, I really should go turn the light on. Oh, I really should go turn the light on. The more your imagination goes and the worse things are. So with social anxiety, if you just say hey, I have social anxiety, or hey, I'm really nervous right now. I'm sorry, bear with me as I'm doing this thing. It's so much better than just trying to not say something, it's like when you pass by someone in the grocery store that and if you just acknowledge them, you're like, hey, I hope you're having a good day, instead of doing the whole oh gosh, they don't see me, So, but anyway, I would have to take these notes. The first few times that I did it, it was awful, because I would I when I was in high school, I remember one time they had me it was for one of those orientation day things, and they were like, okay, write down your name and your email so we can contact you. And I was so nervous that I literally forgot my email. And my email's really simple. It's my first initial and my last name. So it shouldn't be that hard. And I literally was like, oh my God, I spelled my name wrong, So when I was taking these notes for people, I was like, okay, because it would be these big important orders, right? It'd be ordering thousands of dollars worth of couches or whatever, And so I would be like, okay, and my notes would be really sloppy. And then, like my boss would be like, hey, like, what's this note? And I'd be like, I don't even know. And then she was like, why didn't you take a better note? And I would be like, I was nervous, So learning how to, my little slogan for myself was be small and slow and careful. And I don't like doing any of those things. I would rather, I am a binge purge person. I would rather like eat, 10,000 calories and then purge them all. Or, I don't want to have to like be small and slow and careful and measure. And I think most people don't like doing that. I think we rebel against that. But if you can force yourself to like, if you have phone anxiety or whatever, to like take a few breaths before you answer the phone, write down really clear, concise notes. Always work on your penmanship, because literally if you cannot read your handwriting when you go back, it's the worst thing, because you know that you wrote something down and you're like, what the heck was I saying? So taking really, really good notes and having them well organized, that not only helps you, but if you're taking notes for somebody else, that really, really helps other people. So learning how to be a good note taker was vital. And then one of the other things that I have learned the past year, like last year, was better ways to keep lists. So I can have lists on my phone, but the problem with things on your phone is that you can lose it really easy, because I just don't trust the digital world very much at all. Like, I mean, it's great when it helps, but if you rely fully on that, like if the grid goes down, and your organizational skills are kaput, So I now get this notebook, and I actually thought about, what if I ordered a lifetime supply of these notebooks? How much would that be? And it would be about $2,000. So I won't do it, but I do want to always have these particular notebooks on hand. So this is called Noted by Studio C. So this is what the notebooks look like. And then on the back here. And what I love about this notebook is that it's, because I'm really good with organization as long as you give me a framework. Like if you give me, okay, for example, this notebook is just blank. And there's actually some notebooks that have no lines in them at all. So you open the page and you're like, oh, it's this blankness staring at you, right? This is also a trick for if you're a writer. Give yourself a framework, like if you find a prompt or something to give you some structure before you start writing, that can really help you launch into your project. So it's like storyboarding or anything like that. So for my notes, I have to kind of have a storyboarded note. So I love this because it gives me, oh gosh, I don't know if it's going to be blurry, but it gives me the date. It gives me a topic, and then down here, it gives me a little section for notes. So what I do with this now is I literally, and I have 2 of them up in my closet over there. And I know where all my paperwork is. I'm pretty organized with paperwork now. But I will literally just have lists, full-on lists of things. And I don't really want to show you guys like all these things, because some of these things are kind of important. But I will have a running list, a full like just running list. So and I don't I don't like keep things in separate notebooks anymore. I just keep the list going, and then I'll write like little blurbs down at the bottom of what I need to do. And I had to go pick up one of these again last night because I was trying to keep notes in another notebook, and it just wasn't working because I have like a system now, and so I like to keep the system. So having the little section at the bottom where it has your notes is really helpful, actually, because if you have things that you're like you didn't get done that day or whatever, you can write those things down. If you have like a meeting, or if you feel like, for me, I always think of a month is having kind of a theme, and it'll happen naturally. But like if I go back through my notebooks and I write down that topic or that kind of a thing, that's really helpful. If you're in a meeting, you can write down the topic of the meeting or the topic of the day. And so I like having this framework system, and keeping good tabs on notes is really important. I'm a doodler, so like I don't doodle in this notebook. I always have scratch paper next to me if I'm doing like notes or whatever, because if I'm on the phone, I doodle because it helps me focus. So I do that, but don't do that in like your good notebook. Keep your good notebook nice and clean. And then, have some other scratch paper or whatnot to do other things with. And then creating filing systems. Right now it's kind of funny. I don't like paperwork. So the more organized you are with the paperwork, the less you have to worry about it. So when I kind of learned that, I focused a lot this year on organizing a bunch of things. So I actually went through for one of my health classes, and I literally went through and organized all their paperwork, and it didn't take too long. I don't like doing that kind of stuff because it does take a lot of time, but it saves you a lot of time in the long run because you're not looking for like random bits of paper. So this was all, you know, like online paper stuff, but you're supposed to like you have like a full workbook for class, and then I like to break it down week by week for them. So I literally went into the PDF because the PDF was probably about like 300 pages or something like that. And I broke it down by sections of the week and saved each of those and then uploaded them to like a Google Drive. Google Drive is great. Love Google Drive because you can access it from anywhere. And so if you can get a filing system like that where you have like all the paperwork right where you need it, or if you're keeping like certain lists of things, keep them in good, clean files. And then a lot of times too, I'll just start a new email for a new project because then I don't have to look at anything else. Minimizing things is really important too. So as much as you can keep things, if you're like in college or something, I would suggest have an email only for your college work, because that really does help a lot. Like when I go in, like I have just a health class email now because I set that system up for myself. So much easier. Like I go in and it's only that paperwork. I don't have to look at anything else. I'm not getting distracted by anything else. So streamline things as much as you can. I don't know what else to really say about all that. I guess the other thing is too that one of the things I don't like about administration work is that it's a trickle and it never stops. My personality doesn't like that. I like to complete things. I feel suffocated when I know that there's always something more to do. I like a project, so a video like done, class done, a book done. You know what I mean? Like I like to have I want the stamp. I want someone to go and say that it's done. And when it's not, it just feels like, oh, I can't ever finish this. But if you look at it as, you only have 24 hours in a day, set a limit for the amount of work that you're going to do that day and complete things enough so that you feel like you can go to bed at night. And recognize that there's this constant flow of work, and there are some things that are never actually fully finished, but you can give yourself, this sense of like, okay, this is done enough for today, and then tomorrow I'll pick it up, and you just keep on going that way. But it can be really hard for my personality type to have like that just ongoing work. My second job was working as an administrative assistant, and that's why I never wanted to go back to doing that, because it was like the worst experience of my life. But I learned a lot. One of the other things that I was going to say too is like, don't be afraid of failing, and then don't be afraid to do good work, because I think sometimes we believe that we can't do something very well. And to be honest, like there are some things that you maybe can't do well right now, or maybe you're just not good at them and you shouldn't do them. Like if you really know that you're bad in the kitchen, maybe you shouldn't be a chef. You know what I mean? So because there's a fallacy of saying that you can do anything, right? You can't do anything, but you can do some things, and some things you could learn how to do very well. It's just about how much do you practice, how much do you focus, and all that kind of stuff. So and I think sometimes we run from the things that we are not good at, and we think of ourselves as already failing in that area. So it automatically happens. Like if you believe that you are not good at relationships, you're probably not going to have very good relationships because you've already told yourself like, I can't do this. So whatever I try, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I was talking to one of my health classes last night, or was it last night? What was last night? Friday? Yeah, it was last night. And we were saying that if you say, I'm trying to be healthy, you'll never be healthy, because you're constantly going to be trying to be healthy, which means that you're not healthy. Instead of saying, I am healthy and I'm doing healthy things. Like you're not going to do them perfectly because nobody does, But if you say, I am doing healthy things, and I am, I am a healthy person. It creates such a mind switch when I'm trying. That's why Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try, because there really can't be like, I'm trying to do this. And you can say like, I'm working towards this. But if you're like trying, it creates this thing in your mind of like, you see yourself as like struggling instead of working towards or getting stronger, It's really all the way, it's all about up here, you know, talking to yourself and getting yourself to believe that you can do something, because, you know, like I said, you can't do everything, but you can do some things. So getting yourself to focus on that is really good. And like to recognize, one of my favorite YouTubers was saying that, you know, like recognize that life is not all going to be happy all the time. And like I was saying at the beginning of this, you know, like you will not always be happy, but you can always be happy with yourself because of the work that you do. And I think that sometimes you're going to be really, really sad and down if you have to rely on outside things to make you happy. And when you're like a well-organized person inside and out, and you have a good order of operations, and like you know what you know, and you believe it, and you're not lying to yourself, and you're not lying to other people, and you are, you know, someone who is working actively towards making yourself better and your community better, and you're doing your best at whatever you're doing, and you feel like it's helpful, you're going to be happy with yourself. And maybe something horrible happens, you know what I mean? Maybe your loved one dies, or maybe you're alone, or maybe, you know, all these different things. But when you go to sleep at night, you're going to be able to sleep really well because you're doing what you believe is right and what you know is right. And people who are like always living for the happiness of the moment, but don't take ownership of things, they're really sad. They're very sad on the inside, and they're always waiting for like these other things to make them happy, and it won't happen. Like, you know, you can always go and pick flowers, or you can plant flowers. You know, if you pick them, you might find some, but if you plant them, you'll always have them. You know, it's just learning how do you maintain them. You know, so yeah, I don't know what else I really want to talk about. I was just like, my mom was like, I think you need to go talk because I was very energetic. So I have a lot of other work things to do, but I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. Maybe I should read something. I did want to read this story a while ago. Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Okay. I would actually like to do a short video to this because this was like the first story that I read from these primers. And this was called Step by Step. The cover's all torn off because this is an old book. But these were pathway readers. And I just, like, I fell in love with this book. I was like, oh, this is amazing. So, how much is this? How long? Yeah, it's not that long. Okay, I'll read this. So it's called The Wonderful Word. This is an allegory, a story that has a double meaning. The tall gate was locked, and no one could force it open except by using the wonderful word. You will enjoy reading how strong men and scheming men tried to open the gate and failed, and perhaps you will catch your breath in happy surprise by the way the story ends. Once upon a time, a long while ago, in a faraway land, there was a little old man who stood all day by a big gate. He could not force open the gate, for no one could do that. There was only one thing in the world that could make that gate swing open, and that was a word, a wonderful word. The little old man knew what the word was, but he was not allowed to tell. So he stood all day by the gate, not to open it for the people who came there, but rather to tell them what they must do to get in. If anyone said the right word and showed that he knew what the word meant, the big gate swung slowly open and he went inside. Many, many people came and wanted to get in. The gate, when it opened, led to a beautiful garden, and the name of the garden was Happy Life. Since everyone wanted to have happy life, many came and talked with the little old man and tried to say the word that would make the gate open. One day, when the little old man was standing there, he saw a big, tall fellow coming towards him. The big, tall fellow spoke to him in a big, tall voice and said, "I should like to get into the garden called Happy Life. You will please open the gate for me." The little old man answered, "I cannot open the gate for you. But say the right word and show that you know what it means, then the gate will swing open." The big, tall fellow said in his big, tall voice, "Well, if that's the way to open the gate, I know a word which can do wonderful things. And since that gate is big and strong, I think this word ought to be spoken in a loud and mighty voice." So the big, tall fellow lifted his big, tall voice, and standing close beside the gate, he shouted this word, "Power." Then he waited. But the gate never lifted its big latch by even the smallest part of an inch, and the hinges never creaked or groaned. The little old man said, "You know you have to show what the word means." The big, tall man was angry. "All right," he said in his big, tall voice, "I'll put some power on this gate." So he stepped back and took a little run, and he rushed at the gate and kicked it just as hard as he could. The only thing that happened was that he hurt his foot, and that made him a little angrier. Then the big tall fellow looked around and found a big stone. He picked it up with both of his strong hands and hurled it with all his might at the gate. But the gate was not even dented or scratched. The little old man stepped forward and said, "Mr. Big Tall Fellow, you have spoken your word, and you have shown that what your word means, and the gate remains closed. Your word is not therefore the right one. Power will not let you into the beautiful garden called Happy Life. You must go away." So the big tall fellow went slowly away, limping a little bit painfully on the foot he had banged against the gate. And the little old man went back to his place. Soon he saw someone else coming. This was a short fellow with a sly, scheming face, and he said to the little old man, "I should like to get into the garden called Happy Life. You will please open the gate for me." And the little old man answered, "I cannot open the gate for you, but say the right word and show that you know what it means. Then the gate will open." The short fellow with the sly, scheming face said, "All right, I know the word. It's a word that gets you ahead and helps you have what you want. It's a smart word, a keen word, and a wise word." So he went up to the gate and spoke his word, cleverness. Then he waited. But the gate never lifted its big latch by even the small part of an inch, and the hinges never creaked or groaned. The little old man said, "You know, you have to show what the word means." The short fellow with the sly, scheming face said, "I know what it means. I know how to be." Then he went up close to the little old man and he whispered in his ear, "Listen, my friend, you are a handsome little old man. I like you very much. You know the word which will open this gate, so I'm just going to ask you to tell it to me, so I may say it and go inside the garden which is called Happy Life." But the little old man stepped aside quietly and said, "I do know," the little old man a wallet he carried, from which he poured out many shining coins. But the little old man answered, "No, I cannot be bought with gold. You have spoken your word, and you have shown that you know what it means, and it is not the right word. Cleverness will not open the gate, nor let you into the garden called Happy Life." So the short fellow with the sly, scheming face turned and went away, hanging his head in shame because of his failure. And the little old man went back to his place. It was a long while before anyone else came near. And then, just as the big red sun was about to sink behind the mountains, a little girl with a pleasant face came to the place. She led by the hand a child even tinier than she, and the little old man guessed that it was her little brother. Then the little girl turned her pleasant face up towards the little old man and said, "I should like to get into the garden called Happy Life. You will please open the gate for me." And the little old man answered, "I cannot open the gate for you, but if you say the right word and show that you know what it means, then the gate will swing open." The little girl with the pleasant face didn't know what to do. She looked down at the little boy that she held by her hand. Then she looked up at the little old man. "Please," she said, "I'm just a little girl, and I don't know many words. Couldn't you help me just with this one, just as my mother helps me with words in my reading lessons?" The little old man answered, "I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to help anybody with the word." The little girl waited several moments. Then she said very slowly, "Well, I know one word that my mother says is a very wonderful word, the most wonderful in the whole world. I'm going to say it to the big gate. I'm going to whisper it because it may not be right." So she stepped very quietly up to the big gate, and then very quietly she said her wonderful word, "Love." Then she watched and she listened, and her eyes opened wide and her mouth began to open too, for slowly, slowly, the big heavy latch began to lift. "It must be the right word," exclaimed the little girl. "It is the right word," exclaimed the little man. "The latch is lifted. Now show that you know what the word means, and the gate will swing open and lead you into the beautiful garden called Happy Life." Again the little girl with the pleasant face became very sober. "I couldn't do that," she said. I don't know how. I don't know what to do." And the little girl seemed about to cry. Just at this moment, the little boy she held by the hand really did begin to cry. "I want to go home," he said. "I want to my mother." The little girl stooped and took kindly the child and kindly talked to the frightened child. "Don't you mind, Jimmy," she said. "I know it's been a long, hard walk, and I know you don't like this big, strange gate that won't open all the way. But can you just wait a little longer until I think about how to show how I know what love means, and then I'll take you home, and I'll carry you over the rough places." But the little boy was not satisfied and cried only more loudly, "I want to go now! Take me home! I want my mother!" The little girl stooped down again, and at this time she picked up the tiny lad and held him in her arms. "All right," she said. "Sister, I'll take you home. Sister, I'll take you home right now." She turned and looked sadly once more at the big gate, whose heavy latch was still lifted. "Perhaps," she said slowly, "perhaps someday when I'm bigger, I can find some way to show what love means, and then the gate will open and let me in, perhaps." She paused and looked again at the gate in amazement. For now the most wonderful thing of all things was happening. Slowly, slowly, with a grating and creaking of hinges, the gate was opening. But I don't understand," said the little girl. "I didn't show that I know what my word love means. Oh, yes, you did," said the little old man. "If you had not loved your little brother, you would have not been willing to take him home or to talk so kindly to him when he cried. For love means helping people. It means being kind. It is people who do those things who may walk into the beautiful garden called happy life. For it is love, and only love, that can make anyone's life a beautiful and happy thing. Then the tiny boy ceased his crying, and the little girl's face became happy and smiling again. And on a fragrant bush behind the open gate, a pleasant brown bird sang a sweet evening song. And that is by Harding W. Gaylord. So, yes, indeed. So that was the first story that I ever read out of this primer. And I was just like, I think there's sometimes those books where you read them and then you have to like sit back and you're like, it's like there's that meme of like the little girl who's like the air is like rushing past her face, and you literally sit there and you're like, whoa, what did I just get downloaded into me? But I absolutely loved that story. It was amazing. There's a lot of these stories that I want to. I think there's probably like at least 100 stories, like short stories like these, and they're all on my shelf, and like they're the ones that really made me who I am. And I want to put these like into my either my show or my podcast, because like they need to be shared with people. Like if people reading things like this, like can you imagine if like elementary schools had this, we would have much better educated children. And I feel like my place, I am not someone who can like keep up with all the politics. I'm not someone who can like, it wears me down. Like I have to just be doing like, I have to be doing things that are helpful in the moment. Like I have to be doing dance or cooking something or painting something or like just doing things that are full of life. And I can read these stories and like write stories that have life in them and are helpful and healing and all those things. And that's my place, because I just like I can do a little bit of the intense stuff, but I'm a lot more like a tiller, like a tiller of the earth. I have to like plant things and like kind of get the dirt moving, and that's how I picture like your thoughts. Like you have to like till the ground of your thoughts. Like you can't just let it, you have to turn it over. You have to turn over your thoughts. You have to have new seeds planted in your mind, and then you allow things to grow. But I'm not someone who goes in and like, there's some people who like go and like uproot a bunch of stuff. Like that's just not me. It's too much for me. But I just feel like these stories are they're so beautiful. They're so wonderful. And like a lot of the, there's those middle school stories that you read, and like some of them are great, but a lot of times, like they have you read these really weird short stories that just kind of like leave a really weird like feeling in the pit of your stomach, and you're like, what did I just read? So and they kind of lead to nowhere. And I always felt a little bit nihilistic after reading them. I wish I had like something specific to quote or to show you, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure I could later. But anyway, well, I've been talking for almost 40 minutes, so I'm gonna go. I've got other work that I have to do. But thank you all. There's like specific things, because I feel like I should do. Well, first of all, oh gosh, I need to go through I need to do my Escape the Matrix series, because I still have to do that. I kind of wanted to do like a Bible study thing, and then I kind of wanted to do a series on how to help younger people like figure out how to good in the workplace, because like I said, I've just done a lot of hands-on work, and that is something that's really important to me. But if there's like other things that like we want to kind of go over with like daily life stuff, then let me know, because I feel like there's so much about the daily life that people just totally miss. And it really is all about working on your internal world, and you can do that from what kind of thoughts are you actually thinking, not thoughts that are put into your head, because there's an awful lot of thoughts that get put into our head and we don't even realize it. So, I'm all about people like actually thinking for themselves and waking up and like being the people that they're supposed to be. So anywho, okay. Thank you all, and I will see you soon. Have a wonderful evening, and do some good thinking, make something, do something, and have a great